Hi, Assalamualaikum. Can you guys hear me? Again, here I am checking on the um, mic and stuff, like we always did. Hi, Shafiq. Thank you so much for joining me. How my audio and my music sound? My audio is clear, and then my music, is it too loud? Do I need to tone down a bit? Would you like to help me giving some feedbacks and stuff? Really appreciate that. Okay, I'm just gonna put my more stuff. Alright, I can see a few people over here already. So you guys can hear my voice, right? Is it clean and clear? Okay, I hope it is. Alright. Um okay. Hi, assalamualaikum and afternoon, evening. I think it's already evening, 2 p.m. already. So hi Azura, thank you so much for joining me again. I know you have been waiting for this webinar or workshop, I would say, because this one involved Illustrator, and I know you are like a big fan of Illustrator. So thank you so much for joining me. Hi, my name is Najiha. I'm streaming. Yes, I'm live streaming on a Facebook right now. For Cebu Digital Hub. So thank you so much for having me today and also for the past few weeks. I really appreciate you guys inviting me over to share some stuff about Adobe itself. So previously we learned about Lightroom and then Adobe Rush, and then today this week we're gonna learn on more about Illustrator. So all of this series has been compiled as a getting started series. So if you guys like wondering what kind of like topics that I will be covering, it's all more for beginners, for user who haven't or never get exposed with any Adobe product. So that's why we have that series week by week. Supposedly we should be having this stream last night, but we reschedule, and thank God we can still doing this to this week, and we have today to play around with Illustrator. So and I think I'm just gonna get started because people are gonna keep on coming in, and I believe you guys can keep on following and see what I'm doing right here. So technically for this series, for this today live stream, we're gonna learn about getting started with the Illustrator. So if you guys like wondering what is Illustrator, and also what's the difference between Photoshop, I think that would be the most common questions that I receive a lot when I'm like introducing and sharing about Illustrator. So one of the main difference when it comes to Illustrator and other of Adobe product, as example Photoshop, is Illustrator is more on a vector graphic program. So it actually process more vector based graphics instead of a pixel based graphic, or sometimes we call it as a raster. So that would be the main difference. It's not like Illustrator cannot process or cannot tolerate any pixel or raster images. Of course it can, but mainly things that we can create on Illustrator is more on vector based. So if you guys like still wondering what's different between vector and also pixel, or I call it a raster images, is I'm just gonna show you the difference, such as example, right? I think let's see this one. Okay, so this is just example that I have few project that I have example, and of course none of this is mine. This is like for demo purposes. And then as you can see, if I like zoom into the images itself, you will see only lines and shapes, and then you can see the lines over here. This one is actually the path, we call it PATH, path line. And of course you can have outline, you can have stroke, you can have a fill color inside, but this is actually made of path. So how the path is connected, actually you guys can see if you go to this direct selection, and you guys can see the path is connected from points to points. Okay, so we have 1 point, and then second points, and then third points, and of course the rest of the points. So example, if you have 1 point and then you connect with all of the dots and then go back to the initial points, then it will become a close path, right? Because this one connected with the last one. And when the closed path happen, this one is we call as a shape. All right, so example, if you only have 1 point, and then example, I'm just gonna draw 1 point and then 2 points, this one you guys only have a path or a line. But example, if you connect the points from here until here and here, now you have a closed points, a closed path. This one we call as a shape. So technically, Illustrator is made of these points or this path, this shape. It's made of this combination of graphic in path, in shapes, and also in points. All right. So example, because when I like zoom into, you guys can see I can still keep on seeing the path and also the line clearly. All right. So it will not be in pixel base because it is not a pixel base. This is the difference between the vector and also the pixel or raster images, because vector, it's not pixel based. You will not be seeing any like a small square, which is the pixel, inside the vector graphic itself. Okay, this is the difference. Example, if I'm opening Photoshop right now, so you can see, let me just like give you the proof this is Photoshop in case you guys want. I think you guys know. Okay, here, okay, you guys can see the logo over there. Okay, so this is the Photoshop example. This is the Photoshop, and then you can see one of the example images that I have. And if I like zoom into the image, you can see the image is made up of this small pixel. It is in a like square shape like this. Can you really see it? I think because the color is I think I'm just gonna go with this one. Here you guys can see it is a really small small size, and also not small size, depends on the dimension, depends on your resolution, of course, but in a small square if you keep on zooming into this project. So this one, meaning this graphic is made up of from the pixel base, which is the raster images. So Photoshop, they tolerate and also process a lot more on raster images. Can you guys like play with vector? You guys can import things that you guys created in Illustrator into Photoshop. You guys can make it as a smart object or as a something else. There's a few options over there. But what I'm saying is mainly whatever that you guys are working with when it comes to in Photoshop, it is more on the raster based and also pixel based image or graphic. That's why Photoshop is known as photo editing software, actually, because it plays a lot with photo, but of course it has been evolving with a lot of things. You guys can do not just photography things that related to photo. You guys can also play with graphic as well. But if you guys are someone who work with graphic only, maybe graphic only, specialize in graphic, maybe you guys not really play with image, which is in pixel or raster, then Illustrator will be the perfect fit for you, because this software is mainly for graphic and for someone who wants to create something or graphic from scratch. Example, because as I mentioned, you guys can create like a basic shapes from dots and then line and all. So example, if you guys someone who want to create things from scratch, then Illustrator would be the best software for you. Okay, and some other people also ask like, what if Illustrator can do all, or maybe if Photoshop can do all, why would you learn few software, because kenapa tak just like learn one thing, because one thing can do all. Again, it's not like one size fits all. The capability and also the ability for each software to tolerate other project or other, how do we call, file extension and stuff format is because they are like siblings at the end, they are like the same family, Adobe family. Of course they can cross in between each platforms, but in term of how would I say, in term of the more capability for that software to engage and also to handle that certain project and graphic is based on which one that you guys use the most. Example, as I mentioned, if you work with a lot of vector mostly in vector, then Illustrator will be the best for you. But if you work with a lot of images, you're going to manipulate images, combine images, this and that, do a lot of selections, removing this, a lot of retouching, that one would be suitable for Photoshop. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys get the clear picture between these two, because I receive that questions a lot when they want to, example is if someone, like example graphic designer, when they want to learn graphic designing, they will like in between, should I learn Illustrator first or should I learn Photoshop first? There's nothing wrong with learning any or either of one like firstly, but I kind of think at first I learned Photoshop first, obviously, because Photoshop is the most common one and famous. I would say everyone who get into Adobe mostly they will learn Photoshop first. And I was like quite afraid to learn Illustrator because I kind of like maybe have the same I don't know if you guys also afraid to learn this thing, but because I got overwhelmed with the tools, because there's like a lot of tools that you can see that you will have. Wait, what's happening inside of Illustrator, of course. But once I learned Illustrator, it's actually quite easy compared to Photoshop. And the fact that the file size is not as big as Photoshop either. So example, vector image, if you want to create something for billboard, right? Example, for if you guys work with any company with like you guys need to print out a banner or billboard and stuff, you know that one is like how many inches, how many feet. It's a big project, it's a big visual. But in Illustrator, you don't have to exactly create that visual in that size. You can always create the visual or graphic in smaller size, and after that, when you send out for printing, you guys can always ask them to just enlarge it. Because one thing about vector is it is resolution independent. Resolution independent means it is not based on the first resolution or the initial resolution that you guys created in the first place. Example, example if you guys create any canvas in Photoshop, kita dah ada like a fixed resolution. Example, if I go back to Photoshop and then I go to image, I can see the size, canvas size over here. You guys can see this is my dimension of my canvas size, which is in inch, and then we have like 4.5, 4.8. This is my actual initial right now current canvas that I'm working with. So if I want to enlarge the file, example, I created all of these images already in that size, and afterwards I'm going to enlarge it from 4 inch. Maybe I want to make it 8 or double the inch from what I have right now. So technically, when it comes to images in raster or pixel, when you enlarge it, that's why this is when it's gonna make your project become pixelated. That's why we call it a pixelated, because it is a pixel. You only have that small pixel, that size of pixel, that data, and once you want to enlarge it, you don't have enough data to enlarge it, because initially at first you guys create that project in that dimension, in that canvas size. So when you want to enlarge it, they don't have that data, the extra data to add on to make it 8 inch, because at first it was like in 4. So that's why any raster images, raster graphic, pixel based graphic, things that you created in Photoshop mostly are considered as resolution dependent. It depends on the resolution, it depends on the dimension of that project, of that canvas. But when it comes to Illustrator, it is considered as resolution independent, because it doesn't care, it like nonetheless, like what size that you guys created the project at first, even though it is a small size of a logo, you guys can always enlarge it, and it will not reduce the quality of the image at all. You will just keep on you will keep on getting the same quality, as sharp as how you created in the first place, because the sharpness, all the edges are all like a combination of path, points, and shape. So that's why you will always get a sharper edges, not gonna be in dot, pixel, and square shape. So And second thing I want to mention here is vector is not is considered as resolution independent. It does not depend on any resolution or dimension of your first graphic. You can always enlarge it, you can always make it smaller however you want. So that's why also it's like supporting that statement where vector graphic can be slightly smaller compared to the Photoshop or pixel based because of this characteristic. Oh my god. Okay, Cinto. All right. Okay, you guys clear on that? Hopefully you guys, if you have, oh, I can see more. I didn't like scroll down to the comment just now. Hi, Zulfakri. Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, so if you guys have any questions or still like confused with the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator, you guys are welcome to ask me questions on the comment section. I will always keep on reading that while I'm doing the demo. All right, so enough about it. I think enough about the factual authority stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right into because technically in Illustrator we have like a lot of amazing things. So I'm just gonna maybe highlighting for this sake of this workshop, for 1 hour workshop, I'm just going to highlight I think the tools that will like always and will make your life easier when you create things in Illustrator. All right, if you guys see that, if you guys have Illustrator with you, you guys can always follow this demo and open your Illustrator as well, or maybe you just want to watch it and then, you know, feed your brain with this information also can. So example, if you guys like opening the Illustrator right now, as you can see, I have a different layout, maybe slightly from yours, because my layout, I always like to put things on my tool on the right side because I'm a right-handed person, and I feel like at one point, if I put my toolbox to the left side, example like this, it kind of like, if I want to like touch any or use any of these tools, I have to just like go cross over to the left, So I think it's very inconvenient for me. So that's why I prefer to have my toolbox on the right side. And I like to have the toolbox at the end instead of at the beginning, in the middle, because example, if you put your toolbox in the middle, right, when you expand any of the panel, this one we call it panel. Okay, if you expand any of the panel, how to expand it? You guys can click on this double white arrow on top. Is actually to expand or collapse any panel. That's the purpose of it. So example, if you expand it, you can see it's actually expand it is fine because you can still see your toolbox. But if you just collapse it and then you click and select any of these sub panel that we have inside, it's going to just, you see, it's covering the toolbox at the back. Example, I'm clicking on the swatches right now. If I click the swatches and I cannot access my toolbox at the same time because it is like hidden behind it. That's why instead of putting my toolbox in the middle, I'm going to put it at the end or at the left, paling left lah. The leftest, paling left, the most left of this panel, so that when I like collapse or like expand any of the panel, it will not be covering up my toolbox. That is just my preferences. You can always have your own preferences, of course. And example, if you wanna like adjust the position of this panel, you can always like just drag and put anywhere you want. Whenever you drag any of the panel and you can see these blue lines, right? That blue lines highlighted, it showcases that this is the place that you want to confirm or commit, meaning you want to, okay, I want to put this box, this panel over here. So I'm just going to drag it until I can see the blue line, meaning, okay, I'm going to put it here, something like that. And if I don't like it, I can always drag it back into this group of panel. If you see this panel in the box, that one because it is inside of that same group of panel. Because you can see also here on this panel when it's like in a column size. Is that column? Yes, it's a column size. You can see there's a divider down there. I mean, this one is one group in one set like this. It's going to open like this or lay out like this, and this one is another group. So if you have like another divider, then you guys will have a different or third group. That's how it divided your tools and also your panels when you collapse or when you expand it. All right. And I am using like AI 2021, and I think and I use a lot of properties. Maybe If you guys see few things, maybe you guys are using a different or older version, maybe some of it it's not the same like yours. But I like to use properties panels a lot, so I'll always gonna make sure that my properties panel always open, because I think properties is very beneficial, and it give me a direct and also fast fast what do you call fast access, faster access to certain tools or certain adjustment that I want to do towards the graphic. All right, so it's very convenient for me. And one thing also about Illustrator is it is very object dependent, I would say. Can I say object dependent? Because if you don't select any of the object, example, I'm not selecting any of the object right now, okay? I'm using my move tool. Move tool is actually, sorry, selection tool. Selection tool is actually for you to select your object. So this one, all these elements that we can see inside of this graphic, this one is called as an object. Okay, we have object in different kind of shapes, maybe brushes, pattern, many things like it can be. All right, so if I want to select any of this object, I'm gonna use my selection tool, and when I click on the object, you can see it's going to give me the information of that selected object. So I have the object in this fill color, because you can see the color fill color is meaning color that inside like that, filling that shape, which is in orange. And then I have this my fill box in orange, and as you can see there is no stroke over there. That's why my stroke color is none. When you see that slash meaning none mean nothing, there's nothing inside. But can I apply the color? Of course you can. Example, if I select the stroke color, stroke box over here, and then I just going to select the black color, as you can see, instead of none, now I have a stroke color. And how can I adjust and play with the stroke thickness, the width and stuff? I can always play that with the inside of the properties panel. That's why I mentioned before, properties panel is very convenient for me, because it gives me the faster and direct access to the object that I'm going to do adjustment with. All right. So example of a stroke here, I have like 1 pt, which is only 1 point of thickness. I can always increase the size of the thickness over there. You can see it's getting darker and darker and darker, and also getting thicker and thicker and thicker. So that one is like a stroke. Okay, so I think that this will be the basic things that you have to know when it comes to Illustrator, because you have to understand these two boxes. This one is fill, and what's the difference between having the fill box on top, what's the difference between having the stroke box on top. So if your box, example, if your stroke box is on top, meaning you are adjusting the stroke. If your fill box is on top, you are adjusting the fill color. All right, but if you don't select anything, just now, that's why I can see the adjustment that I did, because I select the object. Remember I mentioned it is very object dependent. So if I don't select any of the object, all right, I can still see there's a like same color that has been left inside of my boxes. I have the same color in my fill, the same color in my stroke. But if I do adjustment, if I change the color, example, I'm double clicking on it, I change it into maybe, I don't know, like pink. Let's go with that. And then you can see my box, my fill box changed into pink, but none of my object is changing. All right, because, and if I thought I was thinking I want to change the color of this orange into pink, but why it's not happening? Because when you did the changes, you don't select the object. If I select the object again, it's gonna go back to actual characteristic of that object, which is color fill in orange and also the stroke fill in black. All right, that's why if you want to do any adjustment, please make sure that you select the object first, identify which object that you guys want to do the adjustment and also the changes, then only you do the changes. All right, some people, they just keep on playing around with the adjustment properties and also the panel without selecting any object, and after that hustle adjustment and then none of the changes happen inside of their work. So that's why be mindful on that. It's kind of like the same with Photoshop. Instead of object dependent, it is more like layer dependent. You have to select the layer first in order for you to do adjustment. If you go back to Photoshop, when you do adjustment, if you don't select any layer, whatever adjustment that you did, it will not be affecting or reflecting back the layer that it's supposed to be lah. So that's why you have to select the layer first and then do adjustment. That's why also when you select the layer, then only you can see the properties of that layer. If you don't select the layer, you will not be seeing the properties of that layer. You will be seeing the properties of the whole document. That one is Photoshop. Okay, go back to Illustrator. I just want to show the difference because for Illustrator is more on the object dependent. All right. So make sure you guys know and also remember that. Okay. Okay, I want to also show that there's I think hidden lah. I think I would say hidden features that I just discovered recently, not like recently as in last week, but recently as in last year, I would say. Because I myself, I don't really draw a lot in Illustrator. Mostly I'm just doing like a graphic thingy, not like digital drawing. Of course, you guys can also do digital drawing inside of Illustrator. There's like, if you go to Behance, there's a lot of like places where you guys can find out and see, get inspired from how people create stuff and work through Illustrator. Like example, this one, it's done by in Illustrator, I believe, because you can see it's actually part of it's a combination of like path and also shapes, all of these. This one definitely. But if you guys go to Behance and you guys search Illustrator, there's a bunch of projects that like created based on Illustrator. Example, Adobe Illustrator. All right, so there you go. So we have this kind of project. This is all the project that you guys can create it using Illustrator. You can draw. Example, this one. This is like a drawing. You guys can draw. You guys can like create graphics like this one. All of this graphic stickers, really cute stickers. So there's a bunch of things that you guys can do in Illustrator, I would say. All right, go back over here. So go back to things that I mentioned recently. I just discovered is there's a hidden things, which is like these three I would say condition. Is it conditioned? If you guys like someone who draw a lot in Illustrator, you might be using these three options over here. Okay, we have draw normal if you want to draw things normally, draw behind if you want to draw your object behind your drawing behind that object, and also draw inside. Example, if I'm drawing, there's like also a few drawing tools inside Illustrator. So I'm just gonna use pencil tool. We have pencil tool. So if you guys have a Wacom, you guys can always sketch stuff like a drawing things on the paper using this pencil tool. Dia macam sama je, almost the same like pencil tool, like the normal pencil. The difference just like it is digitalized automatically real time. All right. So example, this pencil tool, right? If I want to draw things, okay, maybe we can just like, okay, let's just like use different, yeah, use different graphic lah. I'm not connecting with my webcam right now, so I'm just gonna draw using my mouse. So don't judge my drawing. How would say? So example, I'm just gonna change. Okay, boleh lah kita pakai. We use a stroke in pink color. So if I like draw things, right? This one I can draw. Use pencil like that. Example. So you can see there's like a really smooth drawing just using a mouse, and this one is not because of my skill and stuff. It's actually because of the adjustment that you can do when you like double click on that pencil tool. You guys can always adjust the smoothness and accuracy of that tools. So if you want to have a really smooth lines like just now, I think if I just like using middle, I can already create really smooth lines like that. But imagine if I increase the smoothness into the end. So if I draw, example, let's try the hair, I can have like a better smooth lines, I guess. All right, you can see that. Of course, it's not connected. All right. So you guys can draw things using the pencil tool. I'm just gonna go back here. Like, I finish this drawing, and then besarnya telinga dia. It's okay, it's fine. So example, you can see I created the lines. I'm gonna go back to this one later. I'm just gonna show you this one first. You can see I'm connecting the lines. I'm drawing the lines. There's a few lines, but it's not connected because I draw one by one, right? So I can always connect the line. We have one line. second line, and third line over here. So if I just like select the lines and then I click join, so by default it's already like joining my lines. So it's fine if you create or draw anything in Illustrator line by line, you can always joining it back as long as your lines or your path is connected or crossing over. Kalau your path is connected, macam ni kan, it's like crossing over kan. Dia dah cross, that one is good. But this one ni macam just touch je, dia ngam-ngam. Mana tadi? Mana? Ah, sini. They're touching, but it's not really crossing. But as long as it touch an path touching with another path, you can always join it. Tapi kalau you punya path, if your drawing, your lines is not touching or crossing over, is not touching lah technically, you guys cannot joining it. You boleh join tapi based on the drawing and condition. Alright, tapi dia lagi macam more effective if you have the path joining. Kalau tak, sometimes if your path is not joining, kadang the Illustrator going to try to joining the path ikut cara dia sendiri. Kadang dia macam tak cantik lah dia punya join tu. It can be like that also sometimes. It depends on your drawing as I mentioned before. So here, if I have this drawing right, if I change the color, this one is my stroke. If I change the color into fill, it's like filling into my ni. Let me just like connect my rambut. Annoying pula tengok dia terpacak macam tu. Kejap. Ni. Macam tu. Alright. Just gonna go with that. See? You see my lines here is not joining or like crossing over any of the path kan. Tapi kalau macam I try to join, dia pandai je dia macam like connect my points. It's actually connecting with the last point sebenarnya. Tapi that's why I mentioned, for me to explain this technically, dia akan pening. So just as long as you guys know, if you guys want to join any of the path properly, just make sure you guys connect the path betul-betul and then baru join. Kalau tak nanti akan jadi pening. But this thing, you don't have to worry. You can always fix it. For this one, I'm gonna use Shape Builder. Shape Builder to also one of the tools yang famous. I don't know if it's famous, but I think it's very, very berguna, and I use a lot in my stuff, in my creation. But before that, I can see, okay, let me just do that. Okay, I'm going to select all of these. Make sure you select all, and then I'm gonna take this Shape Builder. I don't know if you guys can see Shape Builder tool over here, and then dia macam bentuk bulat-bulat, ada dua bulat and then one cursor. And then over here you can see I can macam like make a shape. Shape Builder technically, if you translate back, it's building the shape for you. So I have a face here. I want to build a face shape so that I can always make the face like isolated from the rest of the shape. So this one becomes a face shape. This one can be a hair shape. But as you can see, because we have these lines kan, kalau I make a shape like this, nanti I punya hair only this part. I'm sorry. So if I want to like make sure the hair betul-betul crossing over here, using the Shape Builder, I'm just going to drag it so that it's crossing over. When it's crossing over, instead of dia buat separuh rambut as a shape, it's actually make the whole hair as like a shape of a hair. So if I do that, it's going to remove the lines that in between or divide that two shape to make it and become one shape. That's why this shape is called, this tool, it is called as a Shape Builder, because it helps you to create any shape regardless of how your path intertwined, intersection, something like that. Okay, so example here, I have rambut tapi macam like it's like, you know, like overlapping, something like that. So I'm just going to use the same shape and drag it here so that it becomes like dibuang that shape, and also it's not buang that shape, it's just like combining the shape yang atas pada divider tu and then also the one that at the bottom. Alright, so but what happened to this one? I cannot build the shape with this one. Why? If I using the same tool, when I hover here, it can make a shape for me, but this one I cannot make the shape. The reason why is because of your, it's actually because of your path over here. In order for you to build the shape, you have to make sure the path like crossing with one another, so that, as I mentioned, the shape can be built when the path, like all of the points, is connected, and also when you have a closed path tu tertutup. Alright, so I'm gonna take my direct selection tool over here and then go here. One thing about direct selection tool, it's selecting the whole thing. Direct selection tool, you can touch directly on each of the points. Okay, so I'm using direct selection tool over here, and then I click on this selection tool, and then I'm going to drag it to make sure it's like crossing ke ataupun touching any of my path. So when I do that, I go back, select all again, using my shape builder again. See, now I can make the shape. Just now dia tak bagi you highlight because the path is open kan, it's not connected well. So once you adjust your path, now you can make the shape. So what happened once I make the shape or create the shape? So once you have a closed shape, you can always add on colors, you can play with things macam tu lah. You can play whatever how you want lah. Okay? Okay, so that's one. So I want to go back to this one draw inside thing again. Okay, so example, if I want to draw, what can I draw ke dalam ah? Let me see. Okay, maybe I want to draw the punya telinga punya lines kan. So I'm just going to select, I'm selecting this shape, and as we all know, this one is a closed shape, and the moment you have a closed shape, you will get these three options available. Okay, let me just open my magnifier so that I can magnify this for you. Gitu. Nampak muka. Okay, can you guys see? Alright, so these three, right? Draw normal, draw behind, and draw inside. It's getting rainy outside. Okay, so example, if I select this closed shape, I click this draw inside, and then I'm going to draw. Okay, I'm using the same pink color. Or maybe just change the color so you guys can see the difference. I'm using black color. So I'm gonna take my pencil tool again, because normally I will just using pencil tool to draw, but you guys can always use pen tool, banyak lagi tool lah for drawing. Alright, so taking the pencil tool, I can, the example, if I wanna draw like, I boleh draw macam ni. So nampak tak, dia sebenarnya terkeluar. My actual path, dia sebenarnya dah terkeluar. Allah, buruknya. Ya Allah, sorry. Go back. Dia sebenarnya dah terkeluar daripada telinga tu. Contoh buat macam ni saja. But bila you have this draw inside enable, dia tak, the path is here, but your drawing will not get outside of that shape. Dia akan jadi drawing inside of that shape. Okay. So this one, orang are very beneficial for if you guys like doing a lot of sketching inside and you want to make sure, example, I don't know, like what kind of drawing. Ooh, that's scary. Maybe I nak buat macam janggut kot. I don't know. Sekali je aku buat janggut. Is that janggut even? I have no idea. Let's just pretend it is. Maybe you wanna, okay, example, you have a brush tool over here. I'm using blob. Allah. Go back here. Let me just, where's my magnifier? Okay, using this blob. Okay, go here. Alright. And then make it color. Okay. So I boleh macam brush it off. Oh, sorry. I tak select ni. Okay, draw inside. Go back to blob brush. Oh, it's not gonna get inside of my anymore. Okay. See, dia ada kat dalam. Macam tu. Normally orang guna ni macam untuk you draw like shadows kat bawah. I don't know, you wanna draw things lah. Up to you lah. Macam tu. I'm just showing you. So tadi Joker. Okay, I'm kidding. Alright, let's go back. Okay, now I have problem on how can I exit my magnifier again? Okay, I have no idea now. Okay. Let's see, where's my, oh, over here. Back. All right. Hi, Amy, sorry. Hi, Amy. Waalaikumsalam. Okay, you were asking how to create outline untuk objek. Contoh bentuk petak dibuat jadi bentuk oval. Bila dia dibuat dan resize dia jadi petak balik. Macam mana? How the question is? Bentuk petak dibuat jadi bentuk oval. Bila dah dibuat dan resize dia jadi petak balik. Create outline untuk objek should be sama macam if you create outline for anything, like example untuk typography ke whatsoever. Contoh, if you can just select the object and then you right click on it and then wait, do we have okay, this one kena guna. Tapi wait, create outline for the object, you want to expand it kan, meaning you nak expand so that the shape, the line become macam tu, betul tak? So that one, you have to expand the object. So example, you select the object, and then you go to object panel on top. Okay, I'm not going to use magnifier anymore because I think I'm freaking out because I don't know how to unmagnify it. If you go back to this, you select the object, go to this object menu, and then kat sini we have expand. And once you click the expand, you can expand, you nak expand stroke ke, you nak expand fill ke, maksudnya dia akan stay. Kalau you punya stroke tu macam tu, dia punya thickness, dia akan always forever stay like that, regardless of you besarkan ke atau kecilkan. Because contoh kan, example, maybe some of you cannot really understand what's going on. So if I have a stroke yang contoh 1 point, okay. Kalau I make it bigger, you can see that 1 point become still 1 point of course, tapi dia nampak macam nipis. Tapi kalau I make it like smaller, dia nampak macam very tebal I punya point. Nampak tak? Dia punya stroke tu jadi tebal. Dia tak macam 1 point, nampak macam 5. Okay. So if you want to make sure that when you kecilkan ke atau besarkan, the thickness will remain and stay, you guys can always click on that object, go to the object and expand it. So if you select expand the fill and expand the stroke, technically it's going to expand, make sure that the stroke always remain regardless if you guys like make it bigger or smaller. So once I dah expand, dia akan jadi macam ni lah. So dia akan jadi outline lah. Contoh if I go to view and outline that, you can see I punya stroke tu pun dah jadi outline. Not just my, so I have like few path for my fill and also path for my stroke. So once I have that, I go back here. So if I besarkan or kecilkan, the stroke always gonna be that size. Dia takkan bertukar-tukar. See, dia takkan jadi tiba-tiba tebal sangat-sangat. Let me just show the difference. This one I buat satu juga. This one without expanding, okay? See? If I kecilkan after I expand and if I kecilkan without expanding, you can see the stroke totally gone ataupun hilang. Yes, Azura, I know. Memang that's why bila I was like learning about this thing. Actually, I watch a lot of live stream on Behance. When I saw other creative or doing dorang punya drawing, because as I mentioned, I'm not really drawing stuff on using Illustrator sangat. Tapi most of the artists dorang actually digital Illustrator. So when I saw this and they use these functions, I was like, oh my god, there's like a faster way or beneficial way for you to draw things instead of like, you know, using the shape builder and deleting all the extra thingy yang terkeluar. You don't have to do that anymore, which is like, it saves a lot of time and also save your hustle. So this one also a great discovery that I believe not many people knows, because dia macam hidden tau and tak nampak, celah-celah tu je ada. So it's good for you if once you know this, because I believe you guys can use this in many situations, I would say. So Amy, you have really long questions. Let me try to digest what's happening right now. Okay, you buat petak dulu, lepas tu ada direct selection tu. Di bucu petak tu boleh tukar bentuk petak jadi bulat, betul. That one is called live corner. Tapi bila dia resize, bentuk yang di bucu atau bulat tu jadi petak balik. Macam gini. Let me just try to elaborate or visualize your question. You were asking example if you have a box, right? what's happening? Sorry, I am still in this condition. Just hilang dah. Okay. Also again, if you guys inside of that draw insight, make sure you guys go back to draw normal. Kalau tak nanti you always gonna be in draw insight punya mode. Okay. So you have a box, right? And then when you like want to make the corner, you guys going to select, most of the time you guys going to select this live corner. Ni nama dia live corner sebab bila you select dia akan lively secara live-nya is going to drag and also make your corner round. Betul tak? Okay, macam ni. And then you mention, okay, lepas tu bila kita resize dia jadi petak balik, betul? Macam ni. Dia jadi ada buat besar sangat. Jadi petak balik. Okay, let me just make it smaller lah. Susah nak besarkan. Okay, macam ni. And then you do live corners, bulat, and then you go back again and you resize it again, and it becomes something like this. Betul tak? This is your problem, right? So in case you want to make sure that you tak jadi petak balik or rectangle whatsoever, once you have the round shape, you expand it. So you select the object, you go to object, expand it. You expand all of this, you press OK. So bila you besarkan balik, this one you kena expand 2 kali lah. Sebab you kena expand appearance juga lagi sekali. Go to object, expand one more. And then let's see. Okay dah. Kenapa ada 2? Let me check on this one. View, outlined. Ni apa? Oh, ni yang tadi. Ni yang draw inside, is it? Okay. Even relation selector, you direct understand wujud tadi. Okay. So, I think Azra was you understand differently. Berlaku kalau buat logo dah cantik tiba-tiba ada orang nak print dia selesai semua. Okay. Betul lah kan? It's because when you try to expand, bila you try to resize, you tak guna direct selection tu kan, you try to resize like this kan, and then it becomes like a shape balik kan. So I'm just going. So this one is your knee, this one is your fill, and then this one is your stroke. So I'm going to select all again. I'm going to this one is okay, fill, expand. Why is my okay? Wait, why I cannot expand appearance this one? Expand. I'm not going to resize it. This is what's happening, right? Betul tak, Amy? Bila you try to besarkan, dia jadi macam ni. Am I right? The round shape is perfect. I have to find a way. Oh, maybe we can just combine this. Alright. Okay, if I combine this. So once you combine, where's my... Oh, tapi apa ni? Okay. Okay. Alright. So go back to this fill. Something like that. Then now we can make it bigger again. So that's what's happening. So example just now, if you have only one shape, it's senang because you can always just expand once. Tapi example you have just now, you have a stroke and you have a fill. That one you have to combine the shape first. And then baru you expand it. Tu kadang bila nak print memang kena di kedai printer, takut orang printer tu main resize and tak edit lagi cara guna tool yang ada. Okay, faham. So if you want to make sure that tak berlakunya this kind of confusion, first of all, when you like setuping or you like preparing your project ataupun your file for printing, I always make sure I create outline for typography, and also for all of this object I memang akan expand. Memang I akan macam select all macam ni. Memang I akan go to object, I can expand. That's what I'm gonna do. Because once you expand it, dia memang takkan jadi ni lah. Dia takkan pecah ataupun takkan hilang dia punya actual shape. Because expanding the shape, as you mentioned, is actually creating the outline for that shape so that you would always remain into that shape regardless of your sizes. Alright? And of course, there's like a tweak where you guys, maybe you guys combine few shapes. You guys can always try to use the Pathfinder to combine or to unite or to do whatever you want, because we have a lot of functions and options for the Pathfinder as well. So if you guys do this, you guys can always combine any of the shape and then expand, just to make sure, or double confirm to make sure that if you have like overlap shapes, it's always going to be like intact in one shape. Yes, betul. Create outline memang untuk font. Kalau you nak shape, you tak nak bagi dia hilang, you kena expand. Expand dengan expand appearance actually untuk you create outline for shapes. If you go to this type, you create outline je. Macam ni, yang ni kan. That one's for typography. Alright? Okay. Boleh? Amy, did I like help you in solving your problems or your issues? Anyone else having any problems, any questions and problems pun boleh. Okay, so of course there's like a bunch of few stuff and also exciting things that you can always discover that I wish I can share with you, but because of this time constraint, and I think you guys learn enough or a lot already for the past 1 hour. So for example just now, you like you want to save this one after you expand everything. As I mentioned before, you guys can go to object and expand it. And when you expand things, blah blah, you guys can always go to these save as, technically for you to save in AI format pun boleh, or in different kind of format. For PDF pun boleh. One thing about Illustrator is, example, if you have a PDF file, you can always open that PDF file inside of Illustrator if that PDF file has been created or converted, or saved or export with AI capability. So dia boleh buka. Tapi mostly PDF file boleh buka. Example, you have a form ke that you need to do adjustment ke apa benda, you guys can always open that PDF inside Illustrator. Sebab dia support each other. Okay, and then you guys can save as EPS. SVG is actually another vector format. It is actually small vector graphic. So normally if you guys work with a lot of mobile apps, website, buat icon, navigator tu, that one mostly they orang design in SVG format, because that one also vector format, sama macam AI. Cuma AI is more actually for a big artwork, a piece of artwork yang besar, A4 size, postcard, blah, blah, blah. Tapi kalau SVG is for like small icon. Because if you guys do like website or apps development kan, you guys always try to minimize the size of the graphic so that it's gonna make sure that your website load faster, your application load faster and stuff. So that's why we have another version of vector graphic, which is SVG. Memang specialized for that. Okay, memang dia store vector graphic je. Alright, and then Svg Compress is another compressed version lah. So here you guys can save it as Adobe AI, which is the format for Illustrator. And if you want to export that for something else, contoh nak export sebagai JPEG ke, for PNG ke, you guys can always do that. Okay, export for screen. And then over here you guys can of course export for screen that can ikut artboard. Example, you have one artboard, you guys can always have few artboards over here. Alright, and then if you have two artboards, when you go to export for screen, yeah, can select both of your artboards. So you have to. But you guys always can pick lah, range like from which artboard to which artboards. Okay. Alright, and then here is where you want to save it. And you also have format like suffix. Example, satu kali meaning actual size. You can also add another scale, a bigger size. Example, 2 times. So kalau actual size you adalah sekali ganda adalah A4 size, you guys can also save, suruh ataupun ask the Illustrator to save 2 kali ganda, which is a double size of A4. Jadi berapa kalau double size A4? A1 A2. And then double size of A4, and then dia akan save two version lah. Satu in A4 size, which is sekali ganda, and then the double size of that actual size. Dia akan save you two version. So yang ni macam jimat masa, you don't have to macam export one by one. Satu A4 size, satu size besar, and then macam manually adjust the percentage and blah blah. You don't have to do that, because if you have like suffix over here, dia memang akan allow you to save in to scale up your export in different sizes. Okay, and then you guys can export the ambot lah, then dah akan keluar lah. Alright. Okay. So, oh, Amy also like share with us her ways of doing object path and also outline stroke. Yeah, this one also gonna give you the same if you expand it. Allah. Macam tu lah, yeah. Dia macam almost the same if you do like object expand, sebab bila dah expand tu pun dia give you option to you expand stroke ataupun you expand fill. So kalau you buat macam using path tu, dia memang akan expand your stroke lah. That one's for stroke only specifically. So that one also one of the ways where you guys can go to and also try to do if you guys want to expand apa dia punya outline and also dia punya shape. Alright, so I guess I gotta go. Do you guys have any other questions? And again, if you guys want to learn more about learn more about design thingy, I have another webinar upcoming this weekend on Saturday, where I'm going to just like show you what's the new things that we have in Adobe software for designing. So I'm going to cover 3 things such as Photoshop, Illustrator, and also InDesign. It's not like macam like a workshop, like a full workshop. It's more on like I'm going to just like show you the updates that Adobe has for these 3 software specific for designers, for designing, for graphic design. Lama pula dia buka. Okay, so technically if you guys like interested to learn to know about that latest update of Adobe for graphic designing, you guys are welcome. It's actually thunder outside. You guys are welcome to join this webinar. You guys can always go to my website and search that webinar and stuff. Okay, we have it here. This one is what's new, the world of design. So if you guys memang nak tahu the latest update of Photoshop now, kita ada banyak sangat latest update. We have Photoshop for iPad, we have Photoshop yang boleh sky replacement. There's a few and then example for AI juga, we have a few things such as recolor. Actually, there's one thing that I want to show for Photoshop yang sangat interesting. They call it like apa neural filler ke apa, tak ingat, tapi that one is actually quite interesting to show because dia macam cool gila. So I'm going to show that all of that in my webinar. If you guys interested to join, you guys are welcome to sign up. It's happening this weekend on Saturday, so if you guys want to join, come and join lah. All right, so I guess that's all from me. Thank you so much. Hi Amy, if you guys if you have questions, maybe I don't know, you can catch me on or ask me questions on my Instagram. I'm active also in Instagram, so I'm just gonna drop you my link, so you guys can reach me out over here, and you guys and you can DM me your questions. You boleh tunjuk gambar ke screenshot ke. I will try my best to help you out in that relation to that. Okay. So I guess that's all from me. Nothing much over here. So thank you so much everyone who joined the live stream again, and I really appreciate your time. I know it's the middle of the day, maybe some of you are like working, but hope to see you guys again next week. Time we'll see, maybe the same time like right now or the same time like before. Okay, so thank you so much everyone, and have a good day, and selamat berpuasa juga. Assalamualaikum.